if you're going to go into real estate, you have to be, one, you'd have to have like an 80s perm. Two, you'd have to be in the industry for 40 years.
Yeah.
And be able to say shit like that. I've been doing real estate for 40 years. One of the biggest barriers as an entrepreneur, you are going to have to break. You have to relinquish at some point, and as soon as you do, go through that next ceiling. Because you keep hitting ceilings, then you got to figure out how to get through the next ceiling. Knowing that, one, you don't have to be good at everything. You have to be good at what you're good at. Let other people be good at what they're good at.
Yeah. Well, that's where I looked at people was. Like, some people are frantic and they're not at the nest. They're out and they're accumulating. Their hair's frazzled. They're talking to people. They're doing deals. They're accumulating. That's what I see from a tax perspective. I can see their shit is not in order, but the money's coming in.
And you're like, do this, this. I'm like, okay, this is how much money now I'm making. What should I do? And you're like, fuck yeah, good job. Do this, this. And then like, it was like this layered approach, right?
Welcome to my channel. My name is Matt Bontrager, and I'm a CPA that runs a firm called TrueBooks. That is a tax and accounting firm that specializes in real estate and really tax strategy for real estate investors and small business owners. With that, I always like to talk about money, and I want to bring on friends and clients at times to talk about money. And so who better to have than Falisha, my close friend and client, Falisha Rexford. So give us a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
Give us a good intro.
So let me do a little bit of a better intro for Matt Bontrager of TrueBooks.
Okay.
He is the best CPA in Las Vegas, and I'm sure other places, but we're located in Las Vegas, Nevada, and he has saved me thousands of dollars in tax money, and that's no bullshit. So there you go. That's no bullshit. Thank you guys so much, and thank you for having me. So my background on how we met through the real estate industry.
Does it say through Ryan?
Probably through Ryan Pineda through one of your events. And I'm like, hey, I really need a better tax guy. So it started business, quickly became friends. Actually, it was when I was watching you speak for the first couple times on stage. And I think we got a little bit of camaraderie there. But honestly, over the course of the years, you really are the best. So thank you.
I appreciate you.
But I am a realtor in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm also a real estate investor nationwide. And just like everybody, I think, in life who's really like trying to figure it out as you go, don't bullshit me and tell me that you have everything figured out as an entrepreneur. It's a lot of Q&A, YouTubes, let's go to lunch, ask you questions, that kind of thing. So you have been that for me. Thank you. And I feel like over the course of time, we've built this layered relationship of, this is how much money I'm making. What should I do? And you're like, do this, this. I'm like, okay, this is how much money now I'm making. What should I do? And you're like, fuck yeah, good job. Do this, this. And then like, it was like this layered approach, right? And so here we are. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, I know everything about business entrepreneur, but we are making, and you together combined 7 figures a year, right?
We got some good experience.
We've got some money under our belt.
Okay, so with that, I look at money in 3 real areas. We have income, spending, and investing is what we'll kind of talk about. Income, start us with where you started to make money. Early on adulthood, Falisha, where were you earning $1? That's what I always like to say to people. Anytime I question how somebody makes money, really at these events.
Well, what
do you do to make $1?
Yeah, I like to connect with people. So I'm going to start with, I started poor and I went into the military. So that's my roots. And
so that wasn't even a form of income for you to choose the military. That was
it was survival.
Okay.
It was survival, and I didn't have, medical or insurance or dental, and I was waitressing at TGI Fridays to pay for my college tuition. So it was hand to mouth. And I'm like, this hamster wheel feels awful. And how can I stop this? And I just really needed like a ripping the Band-Aid off moment. Nobody in my family had ever done the military. Nobody talked to me about it. It was
that's really interesting.
It was like I need help button. And I went to the Air Force.
After you had already been working as a waitress?
Oh yeah. I was in college for 2 years, but it was hand to mouth for 2 years. And I just didn't see me going anywhere. And I didn't really have any guidance. I didn't have like adults telling me what to do or trying to guide me. So I was definitely like,
Mom and dad are W-2s, or they were in business?
So they were split. So that was a split household. I grew up literally in like a travel trailer parked on people's, the sides of people's roads. I've told this story multiple times, and we upgraded to a mobile home park. So like really hand to mouth shit.
Yeah.
Really hand to mouth shit. And I honestly just needed something new. And it was so scary, not because I was leaving the love of my life, my now 20-year husband. So that works out. Don't worry.
I love you too so much, but I love you so much.
Nick
is such a cool motherfucker.
He's just such a good guy. And he stuck with me because I went in the military. I left him. He was 20 years old, wasn't even 21. And he was good looking in Southern California. I mean, talk about rolling the dice, if we want to.
Wait, so you guys were dating or together when you went to the military?
Since high school.
Well, yeah, so I'd always known that it was a long time, but I didn't put those two timelines in.
I didn't leave him. I left him to take a chance on us, for us. And it was that day, like there are days in our life where we can look and be like, that was a rough day. The day that my dad drove me down to San Diego to leave for the Air Force, I think I cried the whole way. Because in my heart, as much as we loved each other, I thought, there's no way this hot 20-year-old guy is going to be the love of my life is going to stick through this. Like there was that super self-doubt.
You guys have talked about sticking it through though? So at least the words were there?
Yes.
The verbal commitment was there. You never know.
I was 19 and he was 20. Yeah. And then back then, because there wasn't cell phones or anything like that, you had to write letters. Like I write more than 5 sentences in my hands like, oh, that hurts. He wrote me all through basic training. Like the letters came in and I read them and he stuck with me.
So then how many years did you spend in the military?
So I did 4 years active and I would have done more probably because I loved so much of it. So I used to fly MQ-9 aircraft, MQ-1, MQ-9 aircraft. So those are big drone aircraft for the Air Force. And I taught the Air Force how to launch, land, and employ weapons. That's a whole other side of my life, which is super cool and still crazy to talk about. Then I went into 9 years. You're asking about money. Then I went into 9 years as a contractor. So I walked into the same building wearing the same uniform, but now with resume and experience, and I was making $130,000 a year as a 24-year-old.
As like a government contractor employee type.
Yes, sir.
Not active.
Not active duty, so active. And the reason why I took that job was because we were about $36,000 in debt from an IVF journey that we were on for 4 years of not being able to get pregnant. And so when they were offering me that job, it was really more of a necessity for money if that was something that we really wanted to do. If we wanted to keep going down the IVF route, we really didn't have the money to do it anymore. So like I said, I would have probably stayed in the Air Force. If we had naturally gotten pregnant, I think our story would have been a lot different. But I decided to get out, make more money. And
it's nice to see, though, you were in the same line of work. It sounds like you were doing the same kind of work.
Walked into the same building, same people. I mean, there was nothing they had to train me on at all. Yeah. So that was my first big moment of making a lot of money. Because look back, trailer park girl, no money, no clothes, shoes too big, like the whole thing. Like that's not bullshit, And then 24 making $130,000 a year. That was like, damn.
Nick's working at the time.
Nick, so we put Nick through schooling when I was in the Air Force. So I subsidized him to go become a paramedic so he can try to get on the fire department in Las Vegas. He came out, kind of going backwards a little bit. We got married, so we wanted to be together finally. He came out, and like 6 months later, I got my orders to Iraq. So while I was in Iraq, when I was in Iraq, we just kept putting him through school. But then he became a paramedic, and then he got on the fire department. So then, boom, we're both working. He's a firefighter. I'm making $130,000. We're young. We're making some money.
This is again after your deployment?
Yeah.
So after your deployment, you're a contractor making good money, 6 figures. Yeah. He is already a firefighter.
Now he's a firefighter. Yep.
And then, okay, so that's early on.
Yep.
Walk me through now leaving the contractor role to being what you are now, which is really self-employed.
Self-employed. Talk about
it. It doesn't sound like, let's start off really quick. I was not somebody that was slinging candy at school, selling it for money like an entrepreneur as a kid. That's not me.
Right.
Was that you? Like, were you an entrepreneur from day one, like some people say?
Kind of, to be honest. Like, and that's so funny you asked that question because I have just been peeling back that layer on the onion of myself recently. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say I was an entrepreneur. I was a survivalist.
You were resourceful as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I learned so many things about myself. Like I just told this story on another podcast. Sorry, we're going to tell the same stories. But I just told this story and this is like a new realization to me. Like you're driving and you're thinking about like who you are, who you want to be, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I'm trying to think of how did I get here? Same questions you're asking me, right? Mm-hmm. And one of them was in high school. And I don't mean to like throw my parents under the bus they were dealing with their own shit. So love them, not trying to do that. But I went to school more often than not without a lunch and without money for a lunch, you know? And I never wanted to also be a bother. I don't like being a bother on people. Very independent. That was something that was always there. But what I learned really early was like good energy and a smile can get really far. So what kids at school didn't realize what was happening, but this is legitimately how I did this through high school. At lunchtime, you would be eating your pizza and drinking your Coke, get da. And I'd come up, oh my God, Matt, I just ran out of money. Can I take a bite of your pizza? I swear to God, I swear on my kid's life and our marriage. I used to do this, and I'd take a bite of your pizza, right? And then I'd go 20 feet away, and somebody would be eating something. I'm like, you gonna eat your cookie? Dude, don't waste that. Give it to me. And I'd like hit him like this, you know? Like, then I'd see a girlfriend, and she'd be like sipping on that. Oh, can I have a sip of your soda? No, nobody had any idea. I legitimately was like, kind of like scooping food off people to get a meal. But I realized that if I did it with good energy and a good personality, my people received me well.
I was going to say it was very welcomed at that time because who's going to say no to that?
And
also,
nobody realized it, you know, or somebody would like be finished and they're about to throw something away. So I'm looking back at this recently and I'm like, dude, I have always survived.
Which is weird that you'd have the energy of the mental frame of mind to be happy in that interaction versus another. But take the flip side. Another kid would be very depressed, walking up and almost not talking to people. So people come up to them asking what's going on. You're like a breath of fresh air.
That's another mindset thing. I never looked at myself as like, woe is me poor. I did like, fuck, my clothes look like shit next to everybody else's. I literally, in high school, there was a year that I had like 6 outfits and I made sure to like rotate appropriately so that people, yes, like seriously. So, cause high school, you know, so like, and everybody had the nice skater shoes back then and the JanSport backpacks. That's name brand. Name brand.
I remember asking for a JanSport.
Right? Everything was name brand and I didn't have name brand.
Yeah.
Or I would take the hand-me-downs. I'd go over to her girlfriend's house. She'd be throwing something. I'm like, oh, can I have that? You know? Mm. So resourceful, independent, all this stuff. But I never looked at myself as woe is me either. It was, so that must be like a God-given thing.
That is. That's definitely a quality of you.
Yeah, I'm not, and I tell people this all the time. Take everything away from me. Take everything away from me.
Taking that attitude away from you.
I'll come back.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't even worry about it.
You're not taking
I'm not worried about it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The only thing I crave for every day is my kids' health, my husband's health, my health. I mean, just keep me healthy, keep us safe. Other than that, you can take everything away from me right now.
Because you feel like my skill set and personality is so ingrained.
And nobody's going to outwork me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna work. I'm going to work. And I'm going to put in the time and the effort and the energy. And I'll make it.
So, starting with little to no money.
Yep.
How old are you when you're a contractor making 6 figures?
24.
So you're 24 now. Me personally, as again, the non-entrepreneur, didn't know I was going to be an entrepreneur. I always went after the guaranteed pay. So I went to school, got a good degree, tried to get a good W-2 role. Yeah. What was the break point for you to leave and now go on your own? How old are you then?
So that is a great segue into real estate. Because I have to tell you a little bit about our real estate journey to see where my brain took me to leave.
Because it wasn't one day you were like, oh, I'm going to go do real estate.
No. Yeah. So enter the 2007, 2008 real estate market crash. Yes. So that's the time frame. I went to work up at Creech Air Force Base one day. And this was, everybody you knew was short selling their house. By doomsday, everybody was short. Everybody you knew was. So I walk into work and one of my coworkers is selling her house. And I had been to her house. It was a little 2-bedroom, 2-bath house. And I'm like, just kind of literally question and answer over lunch. Like, how much are you selling it for? I've been to her house. I parked at her house. I had seen all the stuff she'd done in her house. She goes, $70,000. Now, mind you, right now, but back then, nobody knew these prices to be some special thing. Everybody looked at real estate like dog poo.
At that time.
You gotta remember perspective.
Nothing was good.
Yeah, we're all sitting here in 2025 going, of course, this is how you got lucky. But in that moment, everybody was like, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it. And, so she was selling her house for $70,000. I came home. I knew almost nothing about real estate. In my head, I thought as an investment property, 20%, looked at her savings account, almost had exactly the amount that we needed. And asked Nick, do you want to buy so-and-so's house? And he goes, yes.
Whoa.
So we went and we bought that house. My mortgage was about $500. And I turned around and I rented it for $1,000. And I went,
Man.
that's
You still know this lady?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We talk all the time on Facebook. So that was quick. Like, I'm not a crazy mathematician, but I'm like, well, that worked, you know? So maybe we should do that a few more times. So every year for the next few years, we would save. We were like I always tell people, we were like the most non-fun young couple in Las Vegas. Yeah, because we weren't doing anything. So save. We'd find another deal. And it was funny because as the years went on, then I bought a 3-bedroom, 2-bath on Druid Hills and in Northwest Las Vegas. And that one was $85,000. And I was like...
But at the time, that didn't sound crazy.
Well, see, to me, it had already gone up because my last one was only 70 grand. So already I'm like this, 85,000? Are you kidding me? Seriously, I swear. Ask Nick, I was so angry at the bank. So then we bought that one. Same kind of concept. Mortgage was like, what, $600-$700? Turn around, rented it for $1,200-$1,300, right? So would do this over and over and over again. And as the years ticked on, like again, I bought one on Pepper Pike. Pepper Pike was a little 3-bedroom, 2-bath, almost identical to Druid Hills. But by the time I bought that one, it was like rough numbers, guys. Somebody's going to look this up, be like, liar, like $167,000. And even that, I'm like,
damn, that's your third purchase.
No, that was Druid Hills. No.
4th, 5th, 6th?
Yeah, something like that.
You've already, okay, so you're 2x what your first purchase was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, that house that I own right now is worth about $425. And I still own that one. I'll probably just pay that one off because I got a lot of Air Force guys in that one. So anyways, now I'm investing in real estate one at a time.
Any stock market stuff for our stock market?
Yeah, yes.
You're doing some stock market, but you guys were at that point committed to real estate heavy.
Yes, but I don't think we were super like, people are going to watch this and be like, dang, she's so smart. No, I wasn't. I was like, let's just figure this out. So like flailing mode. Yeah. Meanwhile, the reason why, here, want a piece of golden nugget, how we were able to buy those houses wasn't just based on income. It was based on our ability to what they now call house hack the homes that we currently lived in. So what is house hacking? House hacking is buying a house, renting out all the rooms, and offsetting or paying for your mortgage. Yep. So for the first 7 years of Nick and I's marriage, in 2 different houses, I rented out every single bedroom that we owned. So we were either not paying a mortgage or barely having to pay a mortgage. That expedited our ability to save money and buy real estate. Yep. The reason why you don't see that very much anymore is because everybody wants to be snooty and nobody wants to give up their free space. Oh, I don't want to rent to somebody. Yep. So we're not willing to be uncomfortable for the short term to
grow our bank account.
It's wild to me. It's wild to me. So anyways, so for the first 7 years of our marriage, we had roommates in every single room. That allowed me to save money to buy real estate. And then here's your answer to your question, because I'm Mexican and I take 20 minutes to answer anything. So we're like pulling down our bed sheet one night. This is like the same story because it literally was a moment where we kind of got a little dark. I looked at Nick and I was like, what would happen if I passed away? And what would happen if you passed away? We should probably start talking about these really ugly scenarios.
No kids at this time.
We were in the hanky panky house, so we did have kids.
Okay.
So it was really like the, hey Nick, okay, so you pass away tomorrow. What do I do? And I pass away tomorrow. What do you do? And we started like talking through that stuff. And at that point, I think we had about 6 houses. And so I looked at him and I go, I should probably go get my real estate license. In the event that I needed to sell off property, and at that point, that would be like every penny counted for survival for our children, so I can pay off this house, live a little bit more comfortably.
Oh my God. So it was more of the angle of just like logistics of managing your own assets, not like to produce income.
Nope.
Oh my Lord.
Yep. Yeah. So I was like, that makes sense. At this point, I have 6 homes.
Because you guys had so much money and time vested in these.
I should probably go get my real estate license. Let's just layer up a little bit, right? So this is the part that I always feel so blessed. And it was such a learning moment in my life, which was I was going up to Creech Air Force Base. So I'm surrounded by men and women who are active duty military, VA loans, my friends, because now I've been up there for 13 years establishing relationships. And I would finish a flight, and then you'd always do a debrief, and then you would have to write a grade sheet because I was an instructor. So then I would write a grade sheet on how the flight went. I would do that, and then I would swivel my chair, and then I'd start studying for my real estate license. While I was up there, it was quiet. I didn't have, the kids, what have you. And before I could get my real estate license, swear to God, people just they'd come and sit next to me. They're like, hey, I want to buy a house. Do you think you can help me? But they knew that I didn't have my license.
Weren't even there yet, yeah.
Didn't care. They knew that I would have their back because
you had a relationship there.
A relationship, that's how the military mindset is. Like, they cared more about the fact that they knew that I would have their back than the experience. And that blew my mind. That blew my mind because I thought, if you're going to go into real estate, you have to be, one, you'd have to have like an 80s perm. Two, you'd have to be in the industry for 40 years.
Yeah.
And be able to say shit like that. Mm-hmm. I've been doing real estate for 40 years.
Always bragging about the time.
Yeah. And these people, my military brothers and sisters were like,
fuck no. Just want you to do what you can and do a good job.
Trust you.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was the epiphany moment where I went home and I started thinking, who is coining themselves a VA specialist? Who is helping these people? And at the time, nobody was.
You Google search?
Nobody was. Yeah. Well, I started asking my office. I'm like, who is everybody used for real estate in here? Random names. Not random, you would think somebody would have like.
It would have been a you. It would have already been a you. Yeah.
Yes. And nobody had niched it out. And what I learned as I started getting my license and putting myself in just even the classes and stuff was VA loans had such a bad stigma. People just looked at them as people without a lot of liquid money. 0% down must mean that you don't have any money, which enraged me, So I'm like, now I want to go win. Now I want to go win these contracts. How dare you,
That is such a good point.
They earned their 0% down.
Yeah, this is a benefit. This is not because you're broke.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This is because you're serving our country.
Exactly.
So that pissed me off. So Matt Bontrager, real story. The first 7 deals of my real estate career, I had to put underneath my broker's name because I didn't even have my real estate license.
Wow. Good for them, though, to walk you through it, though, and help you through them.
I split it 50-50.
Yeah.
It was a contract that we did. Show me here. And they just couldn't even believe it. They're like, holy crap, girl. They just couldn't even believe it. And so that was...
Yeah, you got agents, this, that aren't even doing a deal in a year. Yeah. Just hanging a license.
And that was before I even had my license.
Yeah.
That was wild. Wild. So at one point, then I'm like realizing, holy shit. Oh, because back up to the whole like pulling down our bed talking about Devin moment. I even told Nick, I was like, and if I do 2 deals a year, that's extra savings. Like I was so naive to the power of real estate and what I could do with a personality that's willing to work hard, be honest, communicate efficiently. I'm like, I have all of these. I can do this.
Yeah, your original thought here, 2 deals a year is going to make you 20 grand. Now it's your full-time income. So what year do you jump?
1 year later.
1 year later.
1 year later, because I was killing myself. I was working. Yeah. Morning, nights, weekends, and flying planes. And it started to get like to the point where it could almost be unsafe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm driving up to and from. I'm exhausted. And I was getting ready to go up to Creech Air Force Base, like curling my hair, doing my makeup. Nick sits down in the bathtub. He goes, why didn't you give your 2 weeks to Robo, who was my boss at the time?
Dad just hit you like that just before a regular 8-hour
and I'm
shift.
Like, shut up, well, because Nick is quiet and he's the calm to my storm. If anybody knows me, Nick is the calm to my storm. I'm the extrovert, he's the introvert. Everybody, most relationships are like that. But he's also the money manager, like the Excel spreadsheet, and I'm just I'm like, foot on the gas pedal, let's just do it all, So he's dialed. So the fact that he was telling me to quit a job that was making us that much money every 2 weeks on the dot, I'm like, shut up. And he did not smile. He was like, I'm not joking. We don't need it. And I want you to be healthy. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I thought about it all the way up to work. I came back. I asked him that night. I said, now that you've had a full day to think about that, like, is that for real? He's like, no, for real. I really think you should do that. So I didn't quit cold turkey, so to speak. I asked to go part-time, which was the first time in that career field that anybody had asked that question.
Let's just say pause, though. That's a very smart decision to make. That's I Face it out. You don't have to go cold turkey.
Yeah, I needed that. I needed almost to prove to myself, you know?
Hell yeah.
So, and that's also another moment in time that I have known my worth. And
Yeah, no one asked that question when no one else has.
Nobody else had.
Fuck them.
And I tell you, like, I walked in there and my boss, I'll always remember his physical reaction. It wasn't what I was expecting. He, like, threw himself back in his chair, put his hands through his hair, and I was like, oh, shit, like, I did not expect that at all. And he was not happy. And then the whole meeting did not go the way that, like, I got out and, like, my face was warm and all that stuff. And I went back and I was finishing a grade sheet. We always laugh and kind of make fun of Robo if he ever catches this. He'll know. But his saying was always like, hey, bud. Like, that's how he always started his conversations. So he sat down next to me. He came out like an hour and a half later, sat his butt on my desk. He goes, hey, bud, if you want to go part-time, we don't want to lose you.
Cool.
So, and that was right. That was that moment that, like, I don't know, like hitting like a 3-pointer net at the buzzer.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, yes.
Good for you for asking. Good for him to recognize good talent. Why would you ever let it walk away when they're giving you half?
Yeah. Yeah. So I got a little bit more time. And then I started to kind of like price comparison. I ate like, you know, see what I was doing.
That's what's winning the numbers. Yeah.
Yes. And part-time first year, I matched my income that I was making up at Creature Force Base. And I'm like, I could do this. And I'm also faith-based. Mm-hmm. So there was definitely a point there where I'm like, all right, God, I feel like you're opening these doors and I'm just supposed to kind of, I'm supposed to walk in faith a little bit here. So and to talk about faith for a quick second, not like anything crazy, don't worry, stick with us. I pulled off on base. It's a 30-minute stretch in the middle of the desert. If you know where Creature Force Base in the northwest part of Las Vegas is, there's nothing in between except for a high security prison. So I am driving out off of base, 13 years, home. And I'm like, whew, no more paycheck every 2 weeks. That's a wild feeling. So that self-doubt starts to creep in. You're like, did I make the right decision? My phone rang, no joke, 3 times in 30 minutes with leads, with client leads. And I went, son, I got you.
I got you.
Thank you. I'm going to be okay. I've been okay ever since.
I love that story because one, you asked something that was unconventional and you got a good answer to it that other people probably have thought in the past and didn't. Mm-hmm. And I think about people ask me, oh, you know, when did you start your business? Did you know you were going to be a business owner? No. I thought I was going to get a good, healthy W-2 paycheck and work my way up the corporate ladder. That's what I went to college to do.
Yeah.
And what I like is I started to even entertain having a business for myself outside of the W-2 role, I just started to do tax returns on the side. So it's similar to you studying real estate. You were starting to earn money with rentals.
For you.
Yeah, it's like, hey, starting to at least juggle both.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like you have to make... To me, that would be a bad decision for somebody to just go cold turkey because you haven't shown any sort of progression to making money.
Let's be wise. I'm all for jumping in a cold pool, I call it, like jump. Yeah. But like, let's make sure that this makes a little bit of sense. Yeah.
And at that time, you had so I'm like, because I had my first son, he was like 6 months old.
Yes.
Wife had a W-2.
Yes, I had babies. Which
is even scarier.
Yeah.
So then, okay, so you bounce. Did you already have a team then before? Or like, were you already juggling a team?
No.
So how fast? Get us from you leave, you're full-time on your own.
For the first 3 years, I doubled my
3 years.
So like for the first year, I like mashed my pay. Second year, I made like 250. Third year, I made like 350,000. So I'm like, holy shit, you know? But without a team, transaction coordinator, things like that, time, energy, time. I mean, I am just grinding, like just dying. So then I implemented a transaction coordinator to take away the paperwork. Because then you start to really evaluate what you're good at, what you should be doing, and what you should not be doing.
Because you did everything that the TC was doing.
I did everything. Yeah. I did everything.
We'll walk them through okay, so what's a TC? And this is your first version of an employee or like a contractor.
Yeah. So a transaction coordinator in real estate is going to help you kind of manage all the paperwork, all the files that are going on. Right. Yeah. And so, making sure that you have your disclosures out, signed on time, that the file is progressing nicely paperwork-wise. Mm-hmm. So I would go out and find the client, build the relationship, show the houses, negotiate the deal. But now I'm staying up till 10, 11, midnight, 1 a.m., no bullshit, yet again, doing paperwork. Kill me. I fucking hate paperwork. I don't like Excel spreadsheets. Yeah. Don't sit me behind a desk. Yeah. You know, so I hated that part of it. And I waited way too long. I waited way too long to get a transaction coordinator. I think people should probably be bringing on a transaction coordinator in real estate around maybe 30, 35 deals. I waited till about 60. I was closing 60 deals a year, and then I brought on a transaction coordinator. Yeah, by myself. Paperwork too. Stupid. Again, figuring this shit out. Figuring this shit out as you go. So I got one transaction coordinator, older woman, really couldn't necessarily keep up at the pace that we were needing to. I loved her very much. She's since passed. Then my girlfriend actually came to me. She was getting out of the corporate world. I was becoming a mommy, but still wanted to like have something to do herself. Yep. And here I am still.
Sounds like a good remote role.
Yeah, but then you're also tapping into those uncharted waters of like friend and business partner. So you're like, oh, you know. So my issue was like, I don't know if you're gonna make enough money to want to do this. She goes, I just want to make some money, not lose myself, and be a stay-at-home mom and still contribute. I'm like, all right, let's give it a go. She's been with me for going on 8 years. She is my right-hand woman. I love her. I've gotten her other agents. She's crushing it. I told her this.
Oh, so she does TC work for other agents too.
Now, because I'd see it and I'm like, hey, girl, I'm never going to handcuff you. I saw this agent's looking for a TC. I can pony you up if you want. If you feel like you could do it, let's double down. Let's let you make more money. Now she's at the point where I believe it should be her own business and she should be training people.
Pulling Matt, send her that clip.
But she needs to vet on herself a little bit and set things up appropriately. And somebody may have control relinquishment issues. So anyways, we all do, right? Mm-hmm. That is one of the biggest barriers as an entrepreneur you are going to have to break. You have to relinquish at some point. And as soon as you do, you go through that next ceiling. Because you keep hitting ceilings, then you got to figure out how to get through the next ceiling. Mm-hmm. That's absolutely one of them. Relinquishing control, knowing that one, you don't have to be good at everything. You have to be good at what you're good at. 100%. Let other people be good at what they're good at.
Yeah. I believe in that who, not how thing.
Oh, sure. If you make me do paperwork, when I then go to meet the client, you're not going to have the best version of me.
Yeah.
Like, the paperwork sucks the energy out of me. Let me go meet people, shake hands, negotiate deals, do podcasts. Let me do that.
Yeah, the people side of it.
Yes.
Okay, so then you're self-employed now. At this point, you have a contractor. Tell me what it is your perception to taxes. What is your perception of taxes as you're a W-2 employee? Then convert. Well, no. Because you also you went from W-2, both of you, with rentals. And I say rentals is a layer of complexity to where it's like, okay, you need an account. Mm-hmm. So did you go from using something like a TurboTax? Like, when did you hire your first account?
This is so fucking embarrassing. This is so embarrassing.
Not as bad as Brian. Shout out to Brian, but Brian's bad.
Legitimately, again, you're figuring it out. And also, like, you have to overlay where we are at in the world of, like, YouTube or being able to go on a Google search and find.
So you don't have that knowledge available to you like you did.
No, because like even now I'm running to AI. Hey, question, answer. You know, or grabbing your YouTube, trying to find it myself. Even that wasn't there. Yeah. So we were like, oh my God. I think the most basic thing that I knew was don't commingle funds. I'm like, don't commingle funds. Don't commingle funds. That was like the only thing I knew.
That's really good one.
Don't be mixing up all your money from your rentals and things like that. So we were already starting to establish different bank accounts, making sure that the money was flowing in and out of different bank accounts appropriately, all of that stuff. That was our knowledge. My P&L, go back and look at my first P&Ls. You have them.
I got copies.
They're like Word docs. Word docs. And I'm like, plus and minus and plus and minus. And he kept saying, use QuickBooks. And I'm like, oh, I got to learn QuickBooks. It's like all the stuff that entrepreneurs fight because you don't want to learn how to do it. That's when you get personal assistance. That's when you start adding to your layer and your network of this is my problem, who, not how. I don't want to figure it out. Go figure it out for me. So now we've got Nikki. So go look at my P&L statements and look at how professional they look now and things like that. But that was a sequence of events. I didn't start off knowing how to do any of that stuff. Mm-hmm. And even now I feel like Nikki and I are still wanting a meeting with you, Matt.
QuickBooks. That's
because I want
to got a link on QuickBooks.
Still work through how we can be getting better. And I think that that's the grace that I give myself now. It's not maybe knowing everything up front. It's every year I want to be better. So like, from last year to this year, where do you think you could see? I mean, the S-Corp thing, right? I started making enough money You told me I should have been doing that as soon as I made six figures.
Yeah.
You're like, as soon as you make six figures, you should be thinking about an S corp. I'm like, it's an S corp. Like, no, my God, I have to learn something again, you know? So then years would go by. My financial advisor would keep saying, like, you should have an S corp. And I'm like, And then a year would go by. Matt's like, you should have an S corp. And I'm like, oh, okay. That next year, I'm like, let's do it. Matt, can you just set that up for me? Yes, he can. So then they go and set it up and do all of this stuff for you. And now we're in a better position than we've ever been, you know? And now we've got people on payables.
So you got the team. I feel like
Yes.
it was an accumulation phase of earning and getting better at your craft, which that was a good topic that Josh and I got into. Do you ever find yourself with this shiny object syndrome? And the example that I have is I do tax work for a living.
Yeah.
And I have a banker friend who is dealing with just big businesses. These guys that are like really at like liquidity events in their life cycle. So they're selling off their businesses, they're buying other businesses. And he's like, the number one place where I see people screw up is when they start to dabble in other shit and they don't just maintain that same focus. So the joke that we have is just like, Matt, shut up and do tax returns. Because no matter how many other opportunities there are out there, which being an accountant, you get, you're drawn with opportunity because you're talking with clients that do different businesses and they're like, hey, I got this going on. Now you want to do this. And so I've always thought about other things that I'm like, hey, I just got to keep my head down and shut up and do tax returns. Have you ever been really pulled in another direction to do something else?
Always.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Yeah.
Like, look at me.
What is one that competed with your like, oh man, maybe this is something that I should
Buying businesses. Buying businesses.
Cody
Taking my money.
Sanchez,
Oh,
yeah.
I love her.
Yeah.
Cody.
Cody's
Sanchez.
cool. Shout out to Cody.
So, yeah, buying businesses and then like going down that rabbit hole of trying to figure out, because I mean, honestly, you can buy businesses for
Insanity.
really fairly cheap. You know what I'm saying?
House prices.
Dude, I'm just like, it's wild. So I start going down that route and I'm like, oh my God.
Do you think that's in the future then for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Not now. I need to stay
I was gonna say
focused now.
And that's what I wanted. So the now, capitalize all caps now. What is the now? What is the time? Like, what is the time horizon of now?
Yeah.
And what is it to say that you've made it through the now? Is it more? Is it a bigger team? Is it a portion of income? Is it so many more rentals? What is that?
So let me just throw out my age. So I'm 41. And that, I think, when you ask questions like that, people need to look at themselves in the mirror and they need to look at what age they are, because I don't want anybody out there that's 21 listening to me going, either feeling overwhelmed or trying to say, yeah, as we age, priorities change. They just do. And so right now I'm in my era of, I always want to close more than 100 deals a year. So I always want to be between 100 to 130. It's so many. So I want to do that. I always want my team doing better than the year before. Always. So I'm always tracking. I probably track their numbers better than they do. Because if I'm going like this, awesome. If my family is going like this, not cool to me. And I've been telling my team for the longest time, I go, hey, I'm okay with making less money when my kids are about the age they are right now. I've been telling them this. I talk to anybody on my team. I told them right around the time that I can purely travel with my kids, expect me to possibly make less money, hand you more. I'm out. I'm traveling the world with my kids. I'm making memories. I am not going to be the parent who turns 70 and then is like, let's travel, but I can't hike and do shit. Yeah. So I'm 41. And so I say that proudly because this is where I am. We do make really good money. And don't be like, if you're 21, you should probably be still betting on yourself, grinding, stay a student, get in rooms, ask the questions, don't feel silly, like cut the bullshit. Why do we feel silly still as adults to ask questions? Yeah, I send you face memos.
I say shit like I'm dumb all the time.
I face memo you all the time. I'm like, here comes inbound, stupid question alert. I don't know. Yeah. And for you, it probably does sound like a silly question. I'm not a tax professional. That's why I ask you. Mm-hmm. You want to do something with real estate, come ask me. How are we going to negotiate and structure a deal? I got you, Yeah. So right now at this age, I am over the bigger pockets. How many doors you have? Do you have 50 doors, 1,000 doors? Because you listen to that for so long and it's always a door thing. I think that's a 21-year-old Falisha ego thing, 23-year-old ego thing. Yeah. Now I'm like paid off assets, baby. Mm-hmm. Right now I'm really reevaluating my entire portfolio and going, this one's a pain in the ass. Let's 1031 exchange that into something better. This one's a pain in the ass. Let's 1031 let's take the money and probably take some tax hits even coming up, and let's just pay off this one, pay off this one. So now I'm bringing in $10,000, $20,000 liquid every month with paid off assets, rental income, all of this stuff. And we're going to have to figure out new tax strategies that I can't even tell the camera because I don't know, because I'll figure that out in the next few years. So that's where Nick and I are at right now. We're really working on making sure that our monthly income is so liquid that it's not going to take away from the type of lifestyle that we now love living, which I don't cook, but I eat damn well. Like, I eat out. I love it. Nick is a good cook. He's a firefighter. So he's a good cook. But travel.
Yeah, you guys just had that big trip.
Always big trips.
The Italy trip was so cool. Other than me, Gideon, trying to get a tax document from you when you were like on a boat taking a nap, and we're like, we need her to wake up and sign this document.
We were in Lucca, Italy, and Nick was passed out drunk when you needed that sign. I will always remember that night. I was so pissed at him because I'm like, here I am dealing with this, It worked. That Switzerland, Italy trip, the year before Italy. This year we're gonna throw in Portugal, but we have 10 vacations planned. Almost one a month, and that's been for years. I take almost one vacation a month.
And so again, that's the phase that you're in now, is really accumulation with the team that you have, focusing on the business that you're in, but now also shifting some of that time to look over the nests in which you've built.
Yes. And making sure, that's such a great analogy. Like shoring up the nest.
Well, that's where I looked at people as. Like, some people are frantic and they're not at the nest. They're out and they're accumulating. Their hair's frazzled. They're talking to people. They're doing deals. They're accumulating. That's what I see from a tax perspective. I can see their shit is not in order, but the money's coming in.
Yeah.
And then they hit this phase. They're like, okay, I got this trunk full of stuff that I need to start to get organized. And I'm going to focus on the money coming in. That might take a dip, to your saying, for personal reasons or just structure reasons. Like, hey, I got to slow down and figure out what I have. But yeah, that's definitely a phase that people then need to start shifting focus to, because if you don't organize the shit that you just accumulated, then it's just going to be chaos the entire time.
And it gets worse.
Oh, it just
gets worse.
It's a messier chest.
It's like a hoarder.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like you bring in the extras, whatever that you don't need. You keep doing it, and it's like, now you've got a hoarder episode. Yeah.
So, okay, so that's income. So we talked about income. Then when you think about spending, where do you splurge money? What's a splurge for?
So I'll tell you another golden nugget. So when money comes into my bank account, my first thought is pay yourself, Falisha. Pay yourself.
There's what is that? That's similar to the profit first kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine's always savings.
You've done that for a long time.
30 grand. 30 grand every single month goes into savings, which I usually can hit pretty quickly. That is before anything. 30,000.
It's insane.
Savings.
It's a lot of money.
Savings. And I don't care what I want, need, yearn for. We don't talk about it.
You're not doing anything till you hit your benchmark.
Didn't pay myself yet. Why would I do anything else?
Yeah. That's so smart.
Yeah. So stash.
That's smart.
And then, because what I've learned, one thing I have learned is have money so that when opportunities arise, you can actually do something about it. Because opportunities will come your way. And then you don't want to be the person that's like, I can't.
You're on the phones.
No. Yeah. I remember a few years back, some restaurant opportunities came around in Washington, D.C. and Virginia. And I shouldn't have even had that opportunity, but I made the phone call. Literally, the phone call I made to the restaurateur was like, you don't know me, and I shouldn't have even seen your contract because I'm the sister of a friend of a something. But what's a buy-in on something like this, And they laughed, and then we're talking. And then I got the opportunity to invest in some restaurants. Can't do those things if you don't have money.
You can't do it if no one asks questions.
And you can't do that if you don't pick up the phone and put yourself, in front of them. That's a funny story. So anyways, I always pay myself first. And that is in the form of savings. Now, and a lot of different forms. Even right now, I'm in real brokerage. So in real estate, you have Coldwell Bankers, you have EXP, you have all these things. I'm with Real. And one of the first things that I did was I set up to be I can't even forget the term right now.
I get employee stock purchase plan.
Thank you.
ESPP.
It's like I have somebody that knows that shit sitting right next to me. So I did that. So it's like 10% right off the top. And I don't even know that it's missing. Like the first month I'm doing it, they already have about 10 grand in some stock account, and they're matching it. I think they matched up to $2,200. That's this month. March isn't even over yet. It's about another week.
Yeah, you got a week.
Yeah.
You should, 100%.
Myself first.
And anytime somebody has a match like that, you'd be silly not to, because that's legit free money. And if you can't put away a couple points of what you're making, then there's bigger problems.
Then there's bigger problems. And so I think the first concept that I learned was pay yourself first. And so if that's $200 to you, that's $200. If you're a waitress and you're on tips and that's saving $200 a month, and that's saving it's not about the $200 times 12 months and that's only. It's about getting in the habit of telling your mental self to pay yourself first.
Yeah, that's self-discipline to save money.
And that's only done compound. If you can learn to make your bed in the morning, what else are you going to do in life? That kind of thing. So it's always care yourself first. And then we're very diversified, and we actually did just change financial planners. Oh my God, Matt, I am so excited. He uses this program where on one page of it,
your whole net worth,
everything.
That is nice. That's my love language.
Every red, greens, everything. So I can see all my mortgages owned on all my properties. I can see my life insurance sitting over here. I can see everything, stocks. I can see my trust. I can see everything. It blew my mind. I'm like, where have you been all my life?
What caused the change for you to seek out a new advisor?
Chaos. My last,
like, you had a sense of like, I got to rein this shit.
My last financial advisor was also hopping companies, and we had to go with him, and I love the man, but it was too much for us. And he knows this. I told him this, he knows this. So, chaos. And so what did I do? Another golden nugget. So you want help in life, go to somebody who's already achieved more than you. So I called one of my pretty fancy and wealthy lenders, Bill Gaylord, and I said, hey, you live in a beautiful mansion of a house, like one of the prettiest houses I've ever seen. Who does your financial? Seriously.
Oh, yeah. Who's the planner?
Who's your planner?
So smart.
Go to the people that have the things that you already want and have already achieved, and maybe are a little bit in front of you age-wise too.
Yep.
And just ask them. And he gave me his planner. We set up a meeting. We did that, and I'm sitting there just. I'm like, wow, this is what varsity financial planning sounds like. This is what big girl and big boy shit sounds like. So
it is always a breath of fresh air and I've had that too as an employer now. When I lose an employee, I go through this. It's the worst part of our business, at least for me, where I get this fucking deep gut wrenching, like, oh. But then when you find somebody who's just the equivalent or even better, it's like, oh my God, there's other people out there that are so
always.
And I think that's so important to remember too, because I mean, even for myself, telling myself, it's like, fuck, you get super down. But then when you get that next person in the seat and you're like, oh my God, it's very refreshing.
Yeah.
How do you think, so as somebody with kids,
yeah,
one of my biggest fears as a kid was being homeless, from the sense of just like the money standpoint. Like even now when I walk around, I'll see somebody doing something. I'm like, what do you do for a living? Like, how do you afford to do this now? Like, you're out at your job, you're not doing anything. So how do you think that you've taken the approach to get your kids to be serious about money?
Some of it,
especially as somebody that has kids now that are able to actually like see the real world and like do deals with them, and like, as you,
well, one, bring your kids with you.
I was gonna say, bring your kids
with you. And there is nothing that I can say on this podcast that my kids haven't heard to their face. I mean, it is straightforward. They should know they can talk to me about anything. Like, communication is lifeline in our house. So there's nothing that I said that they haven't heard. And I don't know if they're capturing 100% of it. I'm pretty positive they're not, right? Mm-hmm. But if you constantly talk a language in a house, what language are they going to pick up at some point? Like, do children come out of the womb speaking English? No. How many years does it take? You constantly speak English, and then what happens? They speak English. So talk about financial advisors, 1031 exchanges, W-2s, setting us up, taxes. Talk about this stuff and make it a language. That's so funny. We were recently in one of our Airbnbs. I say recently, this was actually probably a couple years ago. And I asked Nolan, what did I ask him? We were stalking the cabin. I threw my phone on just to see what he would say. What was the question? Ding, ding, ding. I asked him a question on live camera just to see what he said. This little boy looks up at the camera and answers it with some like real estate terminology. And I'm like, yes, yes. And he's like, da, 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 like he knew it. Did he know what he was saying? Maybe not. But did he know the language? I'll have to find that and get back to you. But yeah, just keep speaking the language. And so for right now, as a parent, I can tell you one thing. Kids come out of your body and they are their own person. So I wish I could go back to high school and rewrite that essay, Nature versus Nurture, because in high school, as a 17-year-old kid, you're like, oh, it's totally the parent's fault. Everything a child does is totally the parent's fault. While I will say there's parenting or non-parenting involved, a person is their own imprinted human being of a self. And your children are small. And I know they already still have personalities, but just wait as they continue to grow into them. It's wild. I have 2 boys, 12 and 14. They could not be any more opposite of one another. And they are parented by the same parent. And so one is a natural entrepreneur and a natural money person. And
So you already see those qualities.
it's insane. Oh, the last person in the world I want to owe money to is my son, Nixon Rexford. He is horrible. Like, he will do something for you. Mind you, they're already on my books. I already pay them $14,600 a year because you told me to.
They're on the payroll.
So they're already on payroll. But I owe my son money. And I walk in the door and he'll be right here and be like, and I know he's going to say, it's not, how was your day? It's not, I love you. It's, where's my money? Yes, he is so bad. So, and he's already washing trash cans. The dude has over $2,000. He comes and he waves it in my face at night because he's trying to save up for an electric motorcycle, which we will not buy for him.
People are ripping those things around. Yes.
I will not buy it. So he's been saving for about a year now. And he does everything. I'll be out working and he's like, Mom, I'm going to go walk dogs. Whose dogs? I don't know. I'm going to go knock on people's doors. He goes and knocks on people's doors.
So he really is portraying these traits of somebody that is like nowadays we would consider like assertive in business. We'll ask the questions. We'll ask questions.
And like I have asked him, I said, so have you been rejected yet? He's like, yeah.
Oh,
and I'm like,
it's kid could face.
Right?
It's the best thing.
Like these conversations, like, nasty people, ugly people, that's the world. What do you say? I say, have a nice day. Yeah. Perfect.
Keep it moving.
Go to the next house. Is that not the best lesson in life?
Best.
That's the best lesson. So never owe money to my son, Nixon Rexford. He's just not kind. So anyways, that's like a natural thing. Now, my other son, Nolan, he is, I think, in his teenage mode. He's 14. It's really hard to get him out of bed. He's a great human being. He's got a great heart. But I don't think that that's naturally there. So I'm just going to keep talking the language. And I think one day it will catch. I do. Do
you take him as the more, right? I think about this with you and Nick. My good friend Kyle, who's in the door over, him and his wife, he's very slow, methodical. Brittany's like, go, go, go.
Yeah.
Do you think Nolan is more of the just slow, methodical, going to think it through first? Versus it sounds like Nixon's like, dude, whatever's in my way, I'm going straight through.
So what I'm trying to do is sit back and enjoy them as humans and figure out what their strengths are and encourage their strengths. So I will say when I sit back and I just look at my son and I try to really pick out the good, because I think parenting has kind of done this backwards a little bit. It's always, don't do that. Da, 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 da. We really should be looking at them and going, what are they good at? So one thing that Nolan doesn't like, he doesn't like bullies. He sticks up for everybody. I'm like, oh, baby. I go, I think you're a natural protector. So that would transfer over in life in a lot of different ways. Think about, he loves water. I go, okay, there's a lot of things that you can go. You could do Coast Guard stuff where you are literally, they're like police, fire, military, all in one. Coast Guard, I'm like, we got to figure out what your strengths are, what you love in life, and we'll cultivate that,
That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
It's to just watch for the strengths, especially as somebody with young kids. My kids are 3 and 5.
Yeah.
So,
see, I want to get Nolan into a lot of my nonprofit stuff. It's that article he saw. He's great with kids. He's like, if there's a little baby, my 14-year-old son, which you wouldn't really think is no, he is so good with children. So I just think he's a lover and he's a protector. And so he may not have that maybe entrepreneur skill set, but if we can foster what he's good at and guide him in that direction, it will be okay. Mm-hmm. He can figure it all out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Do you see yourself? Yeah, the kids thing. Kids are so interesting. And again, this is somebody with kids that are so young. But do you see yourself ever? Right, you kind of touched on this too, because you're 40 now, but traveling with your kids, and you don't want to do that when you're 70. Do you see yourself truly ever retiring, or do you? My guess for someone like you is the answer that I would give, where it's like, no, you'd always do something, and at that point, it's probably almost an investment for you versus like day-to-day income. But do you think you'll always dabble in something, or
mine will always be probably managing my Airbnbs.
Yeah.
So managing my properties to a certain extent, and so we have one, like we have a cabin in Utah. that we love. We have a cabin in Big Bear, California. We have a Destin, Florida condo. I'm literally shopping for something right now because I need to spend money on a 1031 exchange, you know? And Nick and I want to buy something in Europe. I told you that. Like, I want to buy out of country. I have my Italian social security number. I'm already working on my Italian bank account. And so I could pay my Italian taxes. Like, that was the 3 things. I don't meet the whole concept of how to buy. Give me the first 3 steps. Social security number, check. Bank account, next, you know? Then I can find the assets so I can pay the taxes appropriately. Yeah. So I think Nick and I's idea of, quote, retirement, it's like a working retirement. It's going from property to property and enjoying traveling and traveling all these places, checking in on the property, making improvements on the property, working out tax strategies on the property, and kind of managing these things while people still utilize them. And what an amazing time to be an American, like owning assets, real estate, sharing it with others, creating experiences for people. I love it. I love it. I love how some, you know, mind you, I just had an asshole check out of one of my properties. Not everybody is like the best to work with, but like 2 people before them, I was getting pictures of their kids in the snow that had never seen snow for the first time. And now I'm like really seriously seeing people, you know, making memories with their children in the same exact spot that I've made memories with my kids. And I'm honestly happy about it. You know?
That is a good feeling.
It's a great feeling. And so there's that. There's taxable events that happen with doing that because you don't have to live consecutively in a property to hack the capital gains rule, the 2 out of the last 5 years. You would actually travel. So I think we're going to look at traveling between properties, maybe evaluating ones that we want to sell down the road after living in them for a while and utilizing different tax strategies for that. So, you know, the brain's going. It's the Monopoly game keeps going. You know, you put all the green pieces on the board, then you accumulate the reds. But at some point, your time here on Earth is done. And I'm not here to, like, you know, take anything to the grave. So we'll just keep using the age bracket that I'm in to work through the next level. And that's also strengthening my real estate portfolio to ensure that the trust is tightened up for my kids so they can do things appropriate. And mind you, I've said this before, I'll say it again. My trust is structured. My kids don't get anything until they're 31.
Ooh, that's a good age.
31.
That is a good age.
Would you want a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio?
Yeah, I was not aware. And we did actually, my wife and I just finished our estate planning, and we did make some of the ages fairly large. Like, I think we were like upper 20s. But I remember that being a topic, though. We had the same sort of demeanor in the sense of like, yeah, no young adult in their early 20s deserves or needs to get this handed to them because, let's be honest, they're just going to likely squander it. Yeah. But yeah, that's
on accident and then be upset about it, right? And this took our whole lives to build. Yeah. So 31, drug test. And I don't even care, but they have to be productive humans in society.
Yep.
Productive humans in society. If my one son, Nolan, is owning and managing a farm and making $75,000 a year, but he's happy and he's doing it's
a productive citizen.
Yes. I don't care. Like, as long as we are good people doing, contributing, working. Yeah.
Which I like that too, because now that I think about it, I've heard other dads talk about this too, where it's like, hey, it's not these, like, you don't need special circumstances or these good activities to do with your kids. It's simply sitting there talking to them and having good conversations with them, because what you want to pour into them is what's in your brain and sort of that, like that wisdom. And so it's really helped me from fretting on, hey, what are my kids going to do when they're older, to, hey, just try to have them be good, upstanding fucking human
We can't,
beings.
Yeah, we got to work on it every day.
I feel like you kill yourself. I would, worrying about what it's going to be versus just doing what I can to make them good people.
And what am I doing to, like, pour into their cup every single day? Like, my consistent pour, you know? And I just think between them seeing my work ethic, Nick and I went recently we do a annual goal setting.
I was going to ask you about this. Get into this. Yeah. Do you guys talk finances on this?
Oh, Matt. We don't tell each other.
Give people a summary of what this is, because you are the only person in my circle that truly does this to make time for it. And I love watching it every year.
Oh,
you guys are
it's
talking about doing
freaking wild. So we came up with it about 4 to 5 years ago, and our lives have substantially changed every year, because this is why. We know this, but how many people do? Okay, beginning of the year, you set your goals. How many people actually write them down? Most people fail right there because we just write them down and we don't put them in front of our face, right? Secondly, could Nick and I be any more different? No, we really could not be any more different. There is a difference between going to dinner, enjoying a steak meal, going, I would like to do this and I would like to do that. Yeah, that sounds nice. I agree with you. That sounds great. We should do that. You leave there, life hits you in the fucking face, and nothing ever gets attained. Man, a year goes by, taxes are due, Christmas is ready, and you're like, what do we do? Honey, what do we even talk about at that dinner?
Yeah.
You know? Like, there is a difference between unplugging and going, this is for real. I'm with you, you're with me. Let's talk finances, savings accounts, what we're buying this year, what we're buying in the next 5 years, what you need out of me as a wife, what I need out of you as a husband, to include the crazy ass shit. Like Nick, like I literally will be like, what are your current fantasies? Like we get into all of them. You got a current fantasy? I'm ready. What do you need? What do you need me to do, bro? Like I'm ready. Like we've been married. He's been my man for a long time. You know, like we got to ask the things, you know? There was not this last year, the year before. It was brutal. I cried a lot because he gave me some truths that were facts, you know? Yeah. So one of them was a big one. He was like, hey, when I'm driving with you around town to all these editing appointments, do not be on your phone. Do not be on your phone. He's like, he goes, there is nothing that you need to do, which on the contrary, usually there's always a fire, right?
Yeah. There's a DocuSign or something.
Yeah, there's always something. There really is. But his thing is, I'm driving you. I don't want to be your bitch.
Yep.
I don't want to be your bitch driving you all over town and you just sitting over there like I'm your bitch. Yep. You know, like you can wait the 15 minutes from house to house and then you can get back to people as necessary. And I'm like, the first time I was like, crack. Like sitting there, I'm like, you know, like so hard. But I got you. I can do that. You know
How long do you guys meet?
So
just one night, or do you guys?
We usually will check into like a local casino, like Red Rock or something like that. Yeah. We go out to a nice dinner. We get really excited about the whole night. We eat a good meal. Then we go up to the room and we start. So like it will take hours all night, etc. Usually goes into like even breakfast the next morning, white robes, breakfast ordered into the room. This is me and him locked in. I want to know all the things. Yeah. And it's crazy because you write it down like it's all typed up.
Do you leave with a lot of notes and
this
material?
Year typed. Yeah. Typed, I had 4 pages.
Yeah.
Typed. See? But right now, I can go to my 4 pages and tell you exactly what houses we're looking at selling, exactly what we're looking at buying, exactly what properties we're paying off this year. So as the world comes in on you and things get a little rattled, you go back, oh, that was a next priority. That's the plan. Stick to the plan, just like you said. Just like you said, stick to the plan. Mm-hmm. It's wild because at the end of the year, you go through and we just highlight all the shit that we accomplished. Tell me, I'm taking 10 years of our life. I'm going, phew, we did it in 1. Phew, we did it in another year. You know what I mean? Because if you're not on the same page, that's going to take you multiple years to do.
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
And it's like, treat yourself. We do this a lot at the firm, like at TrueBooks. We'll take a lot of time to draft up like an SOP or a document just to kind of like fade away from it. And it's like similar to like couples and their planning. Yeah. But it's like when you go back to that document, you're like, oh my God, my prior brain was thinking this exact thing that I'm thinking now. Just listen to
here I am in the same problem.
If I listen to what it is that you did, execute the plan, stick to the
and not everything works and things adjust too, and that's okay. But yeah, man. And so even like what we want in our savings account every year, like our monthly savings goals, you know, all of that stuff. It's plain as day.
Should be.
Yeah.
Okay. Now what's your biggest loser? I got 5 more questions. So biggest loser ever of money. Like what's your biggest L that you've took with money?
That's so
investment, a bad spend. And this could be like a luxury spend that like I buy watches. That was the big thing for me. And it's like, luckily, mentally, I was like, oh, I want this, and I got it, and I wanted it. But even if like I bought it and I mentally didn't want it, I'd be like, oh, that was it.
So I'm just going to go to this because it's, you know, sometimes things are top of mind. So it may not be the best answer, but it's top of mind because yesterday I said this in the kitchen to Nick. We're about to sell a townhome. So we bought a cabin in Big Bear, California, and it was a great little Airbnb, but we bought it in the surge of COVID. So everybody, actually, if you don't know this, everybody went to local Airbnbs to like feel like they were vacationing in those COVID years. So everybody's Airbnb numbers are super high for COVID. So if you're about to buy an Airbnb, don't look back at 2020 numbers. You got to be looking at, you know, either 2019 numbers or you got to look at, you know, 2024. So anyways, we bought that one. It surged. It did great. And then it tanked around 2022. all of our Airbnb numbers went down about 30%. That's because everybody was getting on planes, going other places. And everybody was like, yeah, stir crazy. And so all of our Airbnbs were lit, So I'm like, oh shit, now we got to become special. You got to have that Instagrammable moment. We got to step up our game. So that's something else we've been focusing on. But we sold that because we had 2 cabins in Big Bear, California. So we sold one and I 1031 exchanged it into a new build. So I was thinking new would be great in Destin, Florida. And I really like this little townhome. A shitty property manager will destroy
The one in Florida?
Uh-huh. Yeah. So watch this. Yeah, she's just been awful and just not really fierce. And I'm pretty aggressive and probably involved a little bit more than I should be and all these things. But then their market actually got a little soft. So yesterday I told Nick, man, this will probably be our biggest L because I'm just like, sell it. Let's sell it and let's do something let's change. It's more like stopping the bleeding faster.
Yeah.
You just learn to recognize I'm bleeding, stop it faster. So we're going to sell this one. And ironically enough, there was a flood on it the first year. So then there's this water restoration bill and just all this shit. I'm like, this is just a shitty effing buy. I'm like, this will be probably our biggest loss. And he's like, it's not a loss though. I mean, ask me what I'm making on it. I'm going to make because I 1031 exchange money. I still have $150,000 sitting there. I'm just going to go move it somewhere else. So it's not a big L. It's a learn. It's a different L. It's not a loss. It's a learn. So you like that? We should put that as a book. Yeah. Good. So it's not a loss. It's a learning moment. And other than that, to be quite frank, nothing major has come to mind. I think this goes back to living in travel trailers, living off Goodwill clothes, not having a lot of food in my belly sometimes, that it doesn't matter how much money I make. I'm always going to be somebody that's pretty, what one of my biggest issues is, Matt, and it should be, I think everybody that learns to make money, it should be a big issue of theirs. It should be the amount that you give. And even my personal assistant, she gets mad at me because I'll give and I'll give and I'll donate and I'll give. And so the people that I feel are appropriate, things like that. But the world gives back to you. It really is. It's crazy. The more you make and the more you give, how more business rolls in. It's crazy.
There was a story about that same banker friend. One of the biggest tax strategies at those levels is basically charitable giving. To an own foundation, so you have control of the money. And Bank of America did some study where for every dollar you put out, you get about $1.18. It was either $1.18 or $1.80 back. And it's not a direct proportion of,
totally.
But it's like, hey,
but I get that.
The gala that you just sponsored or something like that, and the table that you're sitting at now got you this business deal 4 years down the line. And so it was it's somebody that's 5 years into business now, meeting some rich people, some poor people. It's like, oh, wow, spending money now is not what you thought it was when you were in your early 20s, or maybe in your 18, 19 being a bagger somewhere. And it was just you giving to get nothing in return. It's, yes, you should give something without the expectation of return, but when you get older and start making more money, it's when you give it to the right places, then it's smart.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. So that's been really fun. So I wish I could give you a bigger L, but that's
a good
about it. Yeah.
Okay. The next one is, do you remember Ty Lopez?
No.
He was the guy that had the glasses, black hair. He would sit in his garage, millionaire guy, online guru guy that was me in my garage reading all my books. He read all the books with his Ferrari in the garage. That's fine. Josh.
Oh, I will look it up.
I'm going to show you.
Okay.
Right when I show you the picture, you'll know.
Okay.
But he talked about these 4 categories that have always stuck with me: health, wealth, love, and happiness. And so I'm not a religious guy, but I've always thought about hey, if I'm throwing a prayer out there or a good omen, it's hey, I'd really like these categories and how to break down your life. So obviously positives in all of them. So what I want to ask you is, what do you spend your most money on in each category? Oh. So the first one is health. What do you spend your most money on when it comes to health, you or your family?
So our food and beverage and all that intake, it's always, that's part of
it. We try to healthy eat.
Always. So Nick is huge in that. We have boys eating protein, all of this stuff, making good meals. If we're eating now, we're eating good meals. It's just shit. So, juices, juicing, all of that stuff. And I will drop, my juices that I have in my fridge cost me, I think, $200 a pop.
For one juice?
No,
for you're getting a pack of juices. Oh my God, you're about to make me lose.
I could do that every week to 2 weeks, But I live out of my car. So I'm throwing my juices. If you go in my car, I've got best thing ever in a 2024 Escalade. You open up, it's not a center console. It's a cooler. I get to go from house to house, appointment. I pop open a yes, or just so anyways. we pay a lot of money for that kind of thing. Skin care, all of that stuff. Nick does jujitsu. He's 42 years old. That's a thing that we invest in. I have health coaches that I invest in.
You do? So you use a health coach?
I have, yeah. Maggie Jensen's one of my best friends. She's incredible. So I've invested in her programs before. And I think we all just need that constant help. I think we know what to do. It's just sometimes we just need the person checking in on you and making sure to keeping you accountable and stuff.
And now our word, like this came up too, was like, we recently paid for something that it was like after it was done, we're like, we kind of knew this, but what? We needed to be reminded of it.
There you go.
Consistently. And so I thought that was a real lesson too. Like, you'll pay for shit you already know.
Yeah.
But it's, hey, you need to because no one's reminding you.
Yeah. And, from Manview, it's funny because when I took her course, I would tell, hey, Maggie said da-da-da-da. And Nick's like, Maggie said da-da-da. And he's like, I've been fucking telling you that
I've been
for
saying the same
years.
thing.
I'm like, well, Maggie said it.
Yeah. Well, Maggie said it, so now it's a priority.
And, that's funny, but it's real, right? It's real.
Is.
So, your kids are going to listen. I just sent my kids a meme the other day of, like, standing in, like, the Arctic Circle with a cup and, like, hot coffee just pouring into the wind and like mom's advice, like
it's not even
all that. When somebody else is going to tell them the same thing and it's going to click, and that's okay because I built the foundation and they heard it from somebody else. So even that. So yeah, we'll invest really good stuff into healthy style living. Like at Christmas, it was funny. My mother-in-law just laughed. She goes, I still can't believe you guys bought cereal as Christmas presents and wrapped them this year. My kids don't get cereal.
Oh my God. Yeah. So that was a gift to them. Hell yeah. What kind of cereal?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh,
family size.
Bomb.
Yeah, and they get the big box.
That's
I'm like, it's a box, but my mother-in-law laughed so hard.
Did they get the same cereal?
Yeah, they both got Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and that was a gift. And you know what? It was like Christmas morning because they never get cereal, so we don't eat that kind of thing. So we're always going to pay the extra money for the organic stuff. So health was your first one.
Okay, wealth. So now where do you invest most of your money when it comes to wealth? Which we kind of know is real estate. But what is the family's dynamic now of saving dollars? Where do those go?
So right now we don't carry, other than mortgage debt, we don't carry a ton of debt. I did just buy an Escalade. So I threw down a bunch of money on that. And I don't know, maybe you're going to tell me right now this isn't a really smart move. So you can totally do that. But I owe like $70,000 left on it. I can get that paid off.
Primary car on a house is not bad.
Right. So, and good for credit and always things like that. But for me, my brain is like, I want to do, this is where it starts to sound like I'm bougie, but I'm about to do a $50,000 closet remodel.
Are you going to stay in your house for a long time? I mean, I'm
going to own that one for a long time. Yes. I think I may go elderly and then my kids will kick me out. Right. Okay. So, but I'm not going to do my $50,000 closet remodel until I pay that car off. So I
do like that.
Pay myself first, $30,000 a month, pay my car off, and then I get to reward myself with my closet remodel. So for me, anything that I do in life, it's always a tit for tat. So I'm not going to go do my closet remodel and my front yard remodel and my garage. I'm not going to do that unless my shit's in order. So it's savings, pay off the car, closet remodel.
I like that.
Then go work on, and then I bought all my houses that I want to pay off. I have so many houses in the $100,000 range right now. That is so attainable to pay off. I have them lined up. So we're going to pay off that one, and pay off that one, and pay off that one. And after we pay off that house, then I get to go do this on my house. After I pay off that house, then I get to go do this on my house, So that's something that we always are looking at. And it goes back to the pay yourself first model. Yeah. What is the closet getting me, versus a paid off car? So
I just paid off our cars.
We've had them always paid off. This is the first time I've had a car payment in a really long time. Car payments are fucking ridiculous. For me, I can afford it. I can pay that, but like that's a mortgage. That is actually my mortgage. My Escalade payment is the exact same as my home mortgage because I've got like a 2% interest rate on a VA loan. That's wild that people go and do that. I mean, the fact that people are not trying to figure out how to share cars and do other things, I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, or just buying it.
Beater.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop trying to show off. Exactly. Are you making $500,000 yet? Yeah. No, you don't get the BMW.
Yeah, relax with the cars that you're buying.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was wealth. So health. Okay, love. Where do you spend the most money in your love life? So this could be like ideally spouse, dates, traveling,
bank and travel,
jewelry,
absolutely.
Dinner.
I love my children. I love my husband. Spending quality time with them on really memorable moments and seeing the world and giving them these like memories. My kids literally are going to be able to tell their significant others one day, like, oh yeah, we traveled to Switzerland. My parents renewed their vows just in front of us on a Switzerland, deck. in Grindelwald, like they're going to have these memories that just sound ridiculous.
Yeah.
So all of those things. And it's funny because like that last trip that we did with the kids, traveled all of Switzerland into Italy and back. It was a lot. Boom, 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 boom. We were gone for like 18 or 19 days or something. Just traveled. They were smoked. And I was like, fuck.
They were tired. Huh?
Oh, they were tired. So at first I'm like, I don't know if they're going to be traveled or love us. Then it sets in, it marinates. Like traveling is a marinade. Yeah. Oh, the other day I was driving back from school and my son's he's just, you know what I was thinking of today, Mom? I was thinking of this in Switzerland. Now I was thinking of this in Italy. And then I was thinking of that pizza and da-da-da. I'm like, there it is. It didn't have a mating right then and there. It marinates over time. So, and then my husband and I, we really love, like this is something that we really enjoy, which I think a lot of people do, but we really connect it with appreciation, is we love good meals with good views, live music. Like I love that. I love sitting, and I'm in the moment, Matt. I even said that. I said that this morning. I think one of the things that we take for granted the most in life is a good meal.
Oh my God, yes.
Every time we eat a good meal, there are people all over the world that are starving. They'll have clean water still. This is in 2025. Yep. So like every time I have a meal, I'm like, another good meal in my belly, another good moment, another good view, So Nick and I love dating each other, and we...
Yeah, that is a term that you guys use, which I enjoy. Consistently date your spouse. Date your spouse. Yeah, you got to trademark that. That sticks.
And lean into it. Feel sexy around him. Like be healthy to feel sexy, to be the good wife. These are things that a 40-year-old woman can tell you. Maybe not so much a 24-year-old wife. She's still learning. Still learning. You give her grace. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's stuff that we love doing. And we live in Las Vegas.
Such good food.
And I mean, any date night. So my kids went to church camp last year, and they were gone for they were gone for 14 days because they visited one set of grandparents on the front end, 7-day church camp.
I feel like I watched this. I've seen this.
We surprised each other every night of the week with a new place. So like I had Monday, so I didn't tell them where we were going. And we traveled our city. And I set up a date night, and then the next one was his. He didn't tell me. So I would say, oh, you could dress casual for this one. Oh, we were so fat at the end of that 14 days. We ate and drank our way through Las Vegas. It was
Do you guys ever get dressed up and go to dinner too?
Okay, yeah. Some of it was dress up meals. Some of it was like, hey, you got to dress fancy for this. Like he took me to the Mayfair. That was a really fun one. Yeah, I think we dropped like $600 or $700 on that meal. I loved that night. Yeah. And I took him to like a little French bistro. I'm like, you could be more business casual at this one, but we didn't tell each other. So every night we had this date night for 14 days. We ate like kings and queens, and it was so fun. It was so fun.
Which I guess that kind of ties into the last one was happiness, which I think most of the time plays a role, especially for somebody that has a spouse, that the love category, the happiness category fall in line. But what do you do for pleasure, you and Nick? Like I golf. That's where my money goes. I fucking golf.
See, you said pleasure. My brain went totally somewhere else.
No,
I was like,
golf, like solo. So what do you guys like to do as activity wise that you ready?
So he likes jujitsu. He likes going to the gym. I get a better version of him if he gets to go do those things.
True.
I love, and I actually asked myself this like 3 or 4 years ago in our goal setting retreat. One of my sections was what makes me happy. Like, what makes you happy?
You would ask the question to him, seeing if he knew the answer, or you guys were talking about this question out loud?
Out loud to go. Gotcha. Yeah, and like seeing like what makes you happy, what makes me happy. And so for what makes me happy is actually DIY, like home projects, home renovation, always having like a project happening on my house or in my garden. No matter how small.
I find that shit so stressful.
No matter how small or how big. It could be like a small one or a big one. But if I'm constantly like whittling a little project on my house, don't call my contractor. He's always like, oh my God. It's always like, can I? And then can you? And then when are you available? And it's sometimes it's stupid stuff. Like I had him I wanted wood around my 2 windows next to my bed, and I wanted him to frame my headboard. Like little things like that.
It is little.
Makes me happy. Makes me happy. Well, I also just talked to you about it because $1,000 closet remodel.
Yeah, true. That is great. What is going on in your backyard with this tiki hut thing? I gotta see this thing.
Which one?
You were just out there filming a video.
So that's just a little palapa that I have.
And that's like around a pool?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. And me and Josh got on a rant with this. This always gets me fired up.
Oh boy.
Is what is you, which I think I'm in the camp of we don't split bank accounts, me and my spouse.
Oh,
Do you?
no.
What are your thoughts on it? And yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Again,
What are your opinions?
how old are you?
I'm going to be 33 tomorrow.
Okay. So I feel like I have a little bit of age on you.
Yep.
Okay. This is more the last 5 years of Falisha.
Mhm.
Okay. So my late 30s to my early 40s. I feel like there's a lot of ways to slice an apple in this lifetime.
Oh, you're giving people the credit. You're giving people some benefit over here.
I just
Or some
think
grace. We'll call it grace.
I really do. I think just like anything in life, like I just think that there's a lot of different ways to go about things.
Yeah.
Personality, relationship, who you're dealing with, etc. So I'll start there. Nick and I have been together since we were children. We have dreamed together, lived together, grown together. Everything has been together. That's why when I make money, we make money.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm the primary breadwinner if you really want to break it down on paper. Like, I'm the one that makes 90% of what you see on our taxes, right? But we make that.
Mhm.
We spend that. We save that.
Yep.
What are we going to do with that?
Yep.
So the way that Nick and I are, it's everything is it's literally the title is our checking and the title is our savings. That's the actual title on
That's your nickname.
you know what I mean? Yeah, on those accounts. So for us, it is always we're gonna get there together. And then when I am sitting on that new Airbnb overlooking the lake drinking coffee, it's look at what we did, babe. You know, I cannot be who I am and do what I do without him.
Yeah.
I just cannot.
No, you're not a true spouse.
And so that's us. And I know a lot of people do the splitting of bank accounts things and good for you if that works for you and your personality types, because I think everybody's just so different. But that's been us. He's my partner, he's my man, he's my everything. So we combo everything.
I love it. That's the route that I take. We are joint on everything. What I make is hers, what she makes is mine, kind of thing. Everything's together. My original comment was, I think that there's always there's a lack of trust there typically with the couples that I typically see talk about that, because the way that they come at it is they almost look at it as to someone like us, we who keep joint accounts, how do you guys even do that? I'm like, well, what the fuck? How do you even do it the other way?
Yeah.
And I don't even understand how you would do it separately.
Yeah.
So it almost makes me think too, maybe it's just like a lack of knowledge of like thinking that it's harder than it is, but it's a topic that always comes up. And as an accountant, I'm always very vocal on it. Like I'm already taking the aggressive, like, why would you do that? Why are you even considering doing that?
Yeah.
But there's definitely times. So again, like prenups we talked about, or, like, hey, large majority of income that you just came into, maybe a second marriage, maybe this makes sense. But
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Let's
there's always those anomalies.
Yeah, let's talk about the woman who was cheated on and then gets into a new marriage and it's like, I want things separate because now she's like, it's a safety thing and that she's working through or whatever the case may be.
I'm all for those. I'll back those.
But I will admit, I don't personally understand the separate banking things. I personally don't. But I will give people grace on why they choose to do what they do.
And that's why you're you. Because you give grace where grace is needed.
Well, I just don't have it all figured out. Neither do you.
Same, we do not.
But I said this on the last podcast I did. I said, but I will slide into home plate dirty as fuck. Cut up, bruise and all. Like, make us smear and be like, that was a good ride. So we're going to figure this out as we go. You have a lot of figuring out to do. I do too. And that's why you're doing these podcasts, right?
Yes. Cheers to that. Cheers to figuring it out.
Figuring it out.